Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Peak Season Podcast, where our episodes are as short as our launch window. How's it going, Tyler?
Doing great, Luke. Doing great. I'm excited to kick off this podcast today and get up to speed. It's been a little bit since you and I have been able to connect, obviously, with the holidays happening. A lot's going on, but in the midst of the holidays all happening, we have Mr. Luke here who's just wheeling and dealing on getting houses closed and getting them launched and ready to go before the end of the year. So, Luke, I can't wait to hear an update as to what's been going on and diving into some of your lessons learned in launching so quickly.
Yeah, well, thank you, Tyler. It's good to be back. So we just got done with taking a little bit of a Christmas break, but leading up into Christmas, I was trying to get 2 properties launched prior to the holiday, and I successfully got one launched. The other one is still a work in progress, but we're able to pause construction on it and book out the top portions of it. So I think today let's just focus on the property that we didn't renovate, which is the Northwoods Treehaus. We went from the closing table to live in 6 days on that from 1,000 miles away, and I'm extremely proud of what we were able to knock out, but it was not for the faint of heart. It was definitely a stressful few days. So yeah, I guess from start to finish, I've got some lessons learned to share, some things that I would definitely do differently if I had it to do over. But at the end of the day, we pulled it off. So I'm kind of excited to get into it.
Yeah, and let me just paint a picture for our listeners, because right before this, right, so you were in underwriting on this property, and Luke sends me a picture, and it's like Wayfair boxes, stuff that he needs for the property, and it's sitting in a pile of snow outside, and it's not his house yet. So those items are just sitting out there in the snow in the boxes, and there's nothing he could do about it. So, Luke, again, I praise you for the patience and perseverance you have, but that's just to set the tone of some of this, I'm sure. But yeah, let's get into it, man.
Yeah, so I guess just to set the stage, we were planning to close on so it's the week before Christmas, the Tuesday before Christmas. So what, Christmas was on a Wednesday this year, is that right?
Mm-hmm.
Or was it Thursday? Christmas
Thursday.
was
Yeah.
Thursday, right?
Yeah.
So we were planning to close on the 15th or 16th. Some underwriting took longer than it should have, and we got pushed where we weren't closing until the 18th, which was Thursday. I had scheduled a bunch of boxes to be delivered kind of the 18th, 19th time frame. I was going to be on the ground the 20th starting setup. So we had a bunch of boxes. A lot of them were actually showing up early at this point, which was, I guess, good. But I was trying to use Wayfair scheduled delivery. Some of that worked, some of it didn't. I was trying to use the Amazon scheduled delivery. Some of it worked, some of it didn't. We got hit with a blizzard on the 20th, so a bunch of stuff got delayed and canceled. So I had boxes just scattered all over the Midwest, basically, and all my mattresses got canceled. It was a huge mess. So I guess that's lesson learned number 1. Had I had it to do over, I would have probably tried to pay somebody to let me get boxes delivered to their house and then paid them to deliver the boxes.
Good call out. Yeah.
Yep. So, there's a lot of people up there that have big garages or barns or whatever, and they would be more than happy to store your stuff. And then most of those people also have a trailer, and they'd be also more than happy to deliver all your stuff. And that would have allowed me to order stuff weeks in advance, because this property was under contract for a month before I closed, or actually more. So I could have just been ordering stuff that whole time instead of doing it that way. So lesson learned number 1, that's what I would have done. But either way, I had thought that the scheduled delivery would have been enough, but I didn't think of a blizzard basically canceling half of it.
Yeah.
So anyway, I closed on the property on Thursday. I flew in early morning Saturday, and we get started with setup. Luckily, I've got a great team there already that was able to go. As soon as we closed, they were putting boxes in the house for me, which was nice. So I had a door code for them. They were able to go and put stuff in and plow the driveway out and all that. My dad drove up on Friday evening, so he was there Saturday morning when I got there, and he had already started opening boxes and putting little things together. And I mean,
Nice.
that would have been definitely hurting without some family to help out. But So he basically stayed at the property for over the course of the 3 setup days and helped coordinate putting things together. I hired a couple people to come in and put together furniture and just things like that. And as I realized that I wasn't getting all my boxes, my job then became to drive around Northwest Michigan and source all the things we needed.
Which is no little feat if you know
No.
where we're located, because nothing's really close by. I mean, nearest Walmart, Costco is 45 minutes away, north or south, right? You're either going to Petoskey or you're going down to Traverse City.
Yeah, so I had a feeling this might happen. So luckily I rented a minivan
Oh, good
and
call.
just for me. But so I got a minivan and luckily I got the Chrysler Pacifica, which if you have the choice when you're setting up a property, that's the way to go because the seats, I don't know if you're familiar, but the second row seats fold
Hmm.
into the floor. So it basically becomes a moving van. I've got a pretty cool video. I'll probably have to make a reel of it at some point or something. But at one point in that van, I had a dresser, a chair, another table, 2 king mattresses, 3 flat screen TVs, and then like a full complement of like glassware, dishes, everything you need for the kitchen, crock pots, all that sort of stuff, just bags stuffed in every nook and cranny of the van. And with any other vehicle, I would have been making multiple trips. And like you
Yeah.
said, it's an hour round trip to town. To anything more than basically a hardware store, you're talking about an hour in the car, one way. And I was taking that van and filling it up once a day for the whole 3 days I was there. That was fun. Yeah. So really, the first full day, we're just putting things together, figuring out what we need, inventorying everything, figuring out what's not going to get there. Because of course, as you're waiting for these packages to arrive, they're always going to be delivered tomorrow, right?
Right.
But of course they don't. So dealing with customer service at these different places and figuring out what's where and what can I cancel, what's still going to come, just things like that. And bouncing back and forth between the place that we just bought and the place that's under renovation, trying to get that wrapped and guest
Yeah.
ready. So pretty big headache, but we got it done.
I can't believe it. I mean, it looked great. I mean, I know you're still getting some pictures and professional photos done, as soon as you got everything ready to go. But the photos you took were looked better than an iPhone photo to me. So they look great.
Yeah, thanks. I did luckily come in with my Sony mirrorless camera and took some decent pictures. And like I said, I'm not a professional, but I can kind of split the difference between a professional and a novice. And at
Right.
least some of them look professional. Um, and AI has come a long way with what it can help you with as far as editing and things like that. So I don't know if you saw the picture of that hot tub,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
the hot tub, I took a nice picture of the hot tub, but it wasn't full and all the snow had melted
Oh,
from the trees. And I had AI add water to the hot tub, put some snow in the trees,
yeah.
it
AI does
made my
amazing
string
things.
lights look nice and all that. So, we did okay. I got a decent cover photo. And like we said in previous podcasts, I'm only 5 weeks away from having a true professional up there, but
Yeah.
just needed something to get me going. And we
So,
got that.
Luke, you mentioned, having boots on the ground and you're sourcing things. Where are you sourcing this stuff when you're not using, or because Amazon or Wayfair, was not getting what you needed in time? Where were some of your go-to places and why do you select those places?
Costco was pretty awesome. Costco for mattresses is always good.
Hmm.
And then the nice thing about Traverse City is everything's kind of right there in a row. So Home Goods, Walmart,
Hmm.
Target. You can pretty much put together a nice kitchen between Walmart and Target.
I agree 100%.
Yeah. And honestly, I think that is what I recommend as I've ordered entire kitchen setups from Amazon before, but you're just covered in boxes and you're having to kind of figure out what's coming when, and there's inventory and this showed up and that didn't. And you've just got the labor of getting it all straight. Whereas you could just get a cart, go into Target, go into Walmart, fill it up, and you know exactly what you have.
Well, and
And
the value to, like, being there in person and seeing it, because you walk down aisles that are purposefully thought out
right.
as to, like, things that you may need, and you may not be thinking about that if you're just shopping on Amazon, right? And you're like, "Oh, need a
Can
blender,"
opener.
right?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, like I totally forgot about a blender. I had to order it later down the road, but you know what I mean? I think that those things like being in a row after row, like I would just go up and down every flipping row and be like, do I need this? Is it something pertinent? Right? Like a pizza cutter, a
Right.
pizza slicer. Like you need it. How many
Yep.
people go and make pizzas? A lot, you know? But are you thinking about that? Probably not. But if you're going down the aisle and you see one, probably then like, "Oh, that's a good utensil that I'm gonna need."
Yep. For sure. And I think the stuff at those stores is significantly cheaper than
Mm,
getting it off Amazon generally because the shipping's kind of baked into that. So a
yeah,
pizza cutter off the shelf at Walmart is almost always going to be cheaper than a pizza cutter from Amazon. So
yeah,
yeah,
yep,
definitely a little
agreed.
bit easier. So that was kind of lesson learned number two, sourcing some of that stuff, you can get locally, just get it locally. I guess lesson learned that was lesson learned number three. Lesson learned number two was get the minivan, even if you don't think you're
Yeah,
going to
there you
need it.
go. Yeah, minivan.
Get the
Chrysler
minivan.
Pacifica, to be
Right.
specific.
Lesson learned number four now. We're at number four.
Mhm.
Set up the things that you need to function first. So I got in, I set up my Wi-Fi right away. I had to do the whole Spectrum activation, bought a wireless router off the shelf at Walmart because I knew I was going to need it and I didn't want to count on it being shipped. Got that off the shelf at Walmart, set it up. I've got this beautiful mesh network that goes throughout the whole house.
Yeah.
But I didn't go to set up my Schlage Encode until the second to last day, and it would not connect to the wireless.
Hmm.
So
Bad
the house,
signal?
I had a great signal the whole way through. It's not that big. I mean, it's a 2,400 square foot house, and I had, the router and then two repeaters, but I had 5 bars all throughout the house. But for whatever reason, it would not connect to this Deco wireless network. I just chat GPT'd the hell out of it and went through all these different things, spent hours on it, and I could not get it to connect for the life of me. And finally, I'm like, well, it must be a bad lock because I'm trying to set up the lock that came with the house. It came with a
Mhm.
nice encode that looked like it was brand new. So I had another one as a backup that I had already had it up there. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to swap this thing out. I'm flying out at 6:30 p.m. the day before Christmas Eve. So I'm like, well, tomorrow morning I'll put up this new lock, and of course the brand new one's going to work, right? And the brand new one would not connect to the wireless network. So it turns out that apparently there are just some wireless routers that Schlage doesn't like, and there's not much to be done about it. It wants like the dumbest router you can get. It wants a 2.4 gigahertz old school router with
Yeah.
not dual band, not mesh, none of this stuff. And so I went through this whole process to install a whole new deadbolt, and it won't connect. And my flight's in like 5 hours. Just like, oh no, you know, you can't make this up. But had I done that like the first day, I could have went and gotten
Right.
one of my other million trips to the store, another router, and tried it. But I'd never had an issue with one connecting before. But you're kind of dead in the water if your lock won't connect, right?
Yeah.
So as of right now, my lock still does not connect because I had to pull the plug and go to the airport. But I could connect to it via Bluetooth. So what I did was just made a bunch of codes via
Way to think
Bluetooth.
outside the box. Yeah.
So I have a bunch of codes that I can give to people,
Yeah.
and they don't necessarily know that they're not going to be deactivated. But I'm
Yeah. Yeah.
and I'll get somebody. I have some help up there that I could send a router to and have them go plug it in and connect to my
Yeah.
Schlage until I can get up there again, which I'll probably be up there again next week or something. But
Well,
so
and I was just thinking about that too. Like, the code's a bit are the yeah, it working is big because then, typically grab the key set, make a couple spares, have another separate lockbox, right, with a code to where you can have a key set in there in case it doesn't work for any reason. So,
right,
yeah, I could see where that could be a little bit of a hiccup, but it sounds like, you know, again, great outside the box thinking on that. I
yeah,
probably
well,
would have stressed and missed my flight.
oh, I was stressed. I was stressed, but you want everything. If you're putting all this effort in, you want the basics to be nailed, and your door lock is one of the basics.
Mhm.
So it's frustrating that it didn't work, but there's backups to the backups to the backups. I do
Yeah.
have the lockbox outside the door with the physical key in it, so just in case
Okay.
that doesn't work. And then this house also already had a keypad to get into the garage,
Oh, nice.
so I could give them that, and they can get in through the garage.
Okay.
So we've got 3 layers of backup basically to the door lock not working.
Okay.
And I'm going to be back up there. We'll get it fixed. But it's very frustrating to have spent so much of my precious time basically trying to get that working and to have failed.
Yeah. Yeah. All
But it is what
right.
it is. Yeah.
What about 5? Give us lesson number 5.
Ooh. Yeah. Lesson number 5, don't buy a property at the end of the year. I don't ever want to put myself through that again. Yeah.
Crunch.
Yeah. But I think there's a lot of people that you see on social media that really kind of romanticize, and I guess myself included now, setting up a property in 3 days and getting it launched and doing all these things. And it's really cool that they're able to do that. But I think if I can help it, I'm going to go for a week the next time I launch a property and
Mhm.
just spend 7 days. Like it would be such a game changer if I got there and I knew I had a week and I could actually purposefully set things up, take my time. I can order things that will be there in 2 days,
Yeah.
like during the stay, because
Right.
you never to not be able to order things and have it arrive while you're there. It's a pain.
Yeah.
And
No, I was thinking about that with White Birch. So we were there for a week and like my TV wasn't working. And then the beverage fridge, the brand new beverage fridge just stopped after the first day.
right,
Had I been on a actually, I think it stopped a couple days in. But it happened during the time and I was there long enough to where I was able to go get a replacement, get it installed before our first guest stepped foot in there.
yeah,
So there's value in that, right? Just making sure that you have enough time if things break, at least they're breaking on you or you're figuring out the kinks, if you will, and you have time to think through it, strategize, and replace if needed.
yep. And there are setup companies that will go and do this for you, but for a lot of us, myself included, $20,000 setup fee is cost prohibitive. Not that
Mhm.
I assume that's close to what they charge, and it's worth every penny for them.
Mhm.
I mean, it's a lot of work. It's a lot of labor. It's high stress. They're all traveling to these properties and basically staying there away from their families for a week to set them up.
Yep.
So I would pay that if I had a high end property that absolutely had to be launched, and every day it wasn't launched was costing money. Hands
Well,
down, I would pay it. But luckily, I have some schedule flexibility, and it's more of it's better for me to work it into my budget for me to go and set these places up than to pay.
mhm. Yeah, and I mean, in all fairness, so I can speak on behalf of that, right? Because I did have professionals come and do all that. They were there for the week. I was at the other property staying, but I mean, they lived there for the full week. They had movers coming in. They scheduled all the contractors to come, put everything together. If something was broke, they already had the order of the replacement, right? When it got delivered. And that was, I don't think it was 20, but it was a little over 10.
Okay.
About 10K. High insight, since I was there, could I have done it? Yeah, but let me tell you, I actually did get to enjoy, like, a large part of the time I was up there because I knew that they were there, doing all those things, right?
Right.
Unboxing things, making sure, we had silly thing like the wallpaper. So there's wallpaper in that room, in some of the rooms. Well, it's a log cabin, right? So wallpaper doesn't go flush against round. So we're like, oh, didn't think about that. But we found, they found a paint match and just painted those edges where it looked like it was just all part of it, where I didn't have to
Nice.
stress about that kind of thing. So, I think to your point, that was a luxury property and I did need it up and running ASAP because I was going on, a couple months of mortgage payments, which was pricey. I
Right.
needed to get it up and running as soon as possible.
For sure. Yeah, and I think if it's definitely worth the 10 grand if you can get a booking 2,
Right.
3, 4 weeks earlier than you could have. It pays for itself, right? Instead of
Hmm.
you being up there 3 weekends in a row trying to hodgepodge it all together, I
Yeah.
would definitely pay.
Yeah.
And that's why I don't hesitate to hire out as much as I can when I am setting up a property. So
Yeah.
we basically almost fully furnished this property, and I don't even know how many boxes, how much work we did. I put together exactly 0 pieces of furniture. because there are things that I need to be working on that are much higher priority than that.
Mm-hmm.
That's something that you can pay anybody to put together a bed frame or to put together a chair or,
Yeah.
all these other little things. So I will hire as many people as it takes to get the job done, knowing that I'm saving all that money from having a professional come in and do it.
Yeah. Good point.
Yeah. Yeah. So that would be, I think we asked for lesson number 5, or was it 6
That
now?
was 5. Yeah.
Lesson 5, hire early, hire often.
Oh,
Yep. And I would say that I would hire people well in advance. So I had 3 people hired before we even got there. And one day someone didn't show. So, people flake out on you or whatever. And the first person we got that came out was amazing. So I always commit to like a day of work and I say, we'll see how it goes. And once they prove their worth, I'm like, hey, can you come back tomorrow the next day?
yeah.
Um, and the people that didn't show up didn't get work the whole time. But,
Right.
hire these people early and commit to a day or a half a day or whatever the case may be. And then extend if they're worth the money and they're getting stuff done.
Lesson 6. I think we got one more lesson, right?
So lesson 6, I would say, is to just plan 2 trips, because you're going to get up and running, but you're going to realize that there are things that you wanted to do that you couldn't.
Mm.
And not everything's going to be perfect when you step out the door that first time, probably unless you hire a professional and they get paid for perfection. But, lesson 6 is just plan another trip in 2 or 3 weeks and go in there and finish everything else up. If you're doing it from a long distance anyway.
I think that's a key part of what you were going to say, because I was going to ask you, like, how much time in between. And I think, yeah, I don't think I would go more than 3 weeks in between. I think it's just really important to, again, you've been there once, but there was a lot of stress and a lot of things happening. Now, the next time it's, yeah, I got some things, but I think we've talked about this before. Like, I want to quote unquote live in it and put myself as a guest and see if there's other things that I, need to tweak or, purchase or whatever it is, based on just having some time to mentally take the break from go, 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 and truly try to relax and enjoy the stay and put yourself in the guest point of view.
Yeah. So before I left, I went through, like I recommended previously, I made videos. So I made one video that was a cleaner SOP where I went through and I said, this is how I want the towels folded. This is how we want X, Y, and Z done when you do cleans. And I'm going to have AI basically make that into an SOP based on the video. And then I made another one that was everything that I need to do. I want a picture for here. I need to order this, need to do this, 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 this. And I'm going to try and have all that done before I go back so that I can stay in it again
Hmm.
and really have everything. It's not going to be me that has to go back and do all those little things. So that way I'll get to take another fresh look at it, hopefully a little bit more as a guest, and I'll be finding new things that we need to do.
Yeah.
So it is live now and it is guest ready now, but it's not up to the standard that I definitely want it to be at right now. So our first couple stays were people we knew anyway, so that's fine. They can come in and give us hopefully some more feedback. And before we have, I guess, more organic guests, I'll have been in the property
Mm.
again to make sure it's up to snuff.
Yeah. No, good call outs. These are all great lessons learned. And again, it's a time crunch, right?
Yep.
So not everything's going to work in your favor or everything's peachy, but I think what you did and what you were able to put out is remarkable. And Luke, let's share that link to the new Airbnb listing, because as you all know, liking it, putting a little heart, I think that would be a huge help to Luke and his new property. So we'd appreciate that. We'll include that link in the description.
Absolutely. Before we started recording here, I was working on the website for the direct book as well. So we'll have that probably by the time this is live. That'll be live. So it's Northwoods Treehouse, HAUS.com.
Oh,
Yeah.
love it, love
Yeah.
it. Well, Luke, thanks
Cool.
for sharing your lessons. Hope our listeners got some good information. Even if it's not a quick turnaround, well, I think there's still a lot of value add here, and just setting up your first property, even for maybe some of our new listeners.
For sure, happy to do it, and I can't wait for the episode where we can talk about this, the place that's under renovation, and talk about those lessons learned. I got way more.
Perfect. Well, thanks everybody for tuning in to the Peak Season podcast, and we'll share Luke's new treehouse and link, and if you could like and share that would be appreciated as well.
All right, everybody, we'll catch you on the next one. Thanks.
Bye.